Ysidro Gutierrez in studio, candidate for mayor here in Lubbock, Texas. Ysidro, welcome back.
Thank you very much, Chad. I'm very pleased to be here. I appreciate your invitation.
Absolutely. Let's talk about your campaign and how it's been going. You've been, I'm sure, walking blocks and talking to people out there. What are people telling you is among their top concerns when you're out and talking to people?
Chad, they're the same concerns that I've heard all along, and people are concerned about jobs and the economy and education and health care. That's what they're concerned about. So it's up to me as a candidate to educate them about the issues that are important for them at the city level, and that's exactly what I've been doing.
You know, you bring up jobs. We had a candidate on earlier in District 2 who brought up jobs, and it sounds like a lot of candidates get told, well, we want jobs. We want more jobs in Lubbock. There was a story that came out, I don't know if you saw it or not, but it was in the AJ a couple of days ago that with the unemployment rate hovering around, 3% or so, restaurants are having a hard time, I guess, hiring full staffs because those who want a job, basically, in this town can get a job. So is it a problem of not enough jobs or not the right kind of jobs?
Well, Chad, it's not a problem of jobs. However, I have a jobs program that I think would be very good for Lubbock, and that is that if we adopt the Texas model. You know, Texas was number one in jobs in the nation for the last 10 years, number one in business, number one in prosperity. And my platform is this, and you might have seen it on my chart during the televised interview, is that if we adopt the same policies that the state of Texas has been using during the recession of since 2008, we can have jobs here. What it is that businesses will prosper and families will prosper if we follow the rules that Texas has been using. It was good for Texas, and it'll be good for Lubbock, and that's my plan.
One of the plans that you have is to revise, I guess, the city charter. This has been an issue that seems to come up every few years over at Lubbock City Hall, where they will maybe attempt or they will at least discuss putting together a charter review committee. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't happen, sometimes it happens and they don't listen to the charter review committee. So what would your plan be if, let's say, you're mayor? Obviously, you want to revise the charter a little bit. What are your ideas as far as what needs to be revised?
I'm very pleased that you asked that question, Chad. You're actually the first person to ask it, even though that's been on my flyer, my brochure from the very beginning. This is my plan. I would like to ask the council to immediately after the new council is sworn in to go ahead and form a committee. And that committee would be given three instructions only. That when you rewrite the city charter or amend it, whatever you want, committee, keep out special interests. Do not take any special interests into consideration. Do not take any political, partisan consideration in your writing or amending the city charter, and that everything that you do change or amend should be for the benefit of the whole community. And that's the instructions that we will give them. And then another thing is that we don't want to take a year to do it. We want to do it in 90 to 180 days, and then come back, and the council will take it to the people.
What kind of special interest are you talking about keeping out special interest?
My Chad, you would not imagine the special interests that are involved. I have a chart here in my hands. I wish I could show it to the people. But there is a plan here that calls for $381 million tax dollars to be allocated for the downtown area. Look, Chad, I believe in downtown development. I believe in downtown redevelopment. But it's got to come from private investment. It cannot be $381 million from the taxpayers. That's just one example. There's a downtown hotel. There's a monorail. There's been bike routes that have been proposed for downtown. All of these things, if we're going to have them, they need to be done with private dollars. Now, I cannot imagine any private investor saying there's profitability in a bike route. There isn't. So that means it's coming from tax dollars. And so, $381 million tax dollars. That's special interest.
Has there been something with downtown right now that you are concerned about as far as where it's not the private funds have been used? Is there something in particular that you've seen lately, or just the ideas that have been floated? Is that what concerns you? Because the monorail, and you brought the money, and we talked about that a ton here on this show. It was an idea that was floated, but it doesn't look like it right now. It doesn't look like it's actually happening. So is that what you're worried about? What plans have been, I guess, floated?
You know
downtown?
What? I'll tell you what, Chad. I really admire the private investors who have already invested in downtown. And by the way, they had a news conference on TV not long ago, probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And they talked about what they had done with their own dollars. And that was wonderful. And I commend them, and it's admirable and honorable. And I am very happy that they've done that. However, tax dollars for example, the Downtown Business Corporation that Mr. Dan Pope is a member of, went to city council, according to Victor Hernandez, and asked for $1 million to relocate sewer lines. Now, that's tax dollars for a company that is a for-profit company. And that's one of the issues that came up at KMAC TV debate, that the idea that Mr. Dan Pope is a member of that corporation.
In the last forum, he said that he would, if he's elected, he would divest and that he would get out of that. Does that satisfy you?
Well, let me tell you the rest of the story. We'll do a little Paul Harvey moment here. At the first debate, Mr. Dan Pope, of course, acknowledged that he was an investor in that, and that he would. I mentioned to him, Mr. Pope, you have not reported your membership in this for-profit corporation that is asking for tax dollars. So there's a possibility that you're looking to profit from private dollars, and that's on the record. It was on TV. I said, so you did not divulge your membership in your personal financial disclosure statement that you filed with the city of Lubbock. And he said, I am going to go back and revise my disclosure statement. He hasn't done it. That has not been done. It's still showing there that he has no interest, and that's not a fact. The fact is that he does have interest. And so, Chad, we have a candidate, Mr. Dan Pope, that I believe is justly, that we are justified in reminding that it's a violation of the city charter. So why would you be running for mayor if you are already in violation of the city charter? What are you going to do once you're elected?
So do you accept his answer, though, at the last forum where he said he would divest from that group? Is that good enough?
No, I would accept it if he had done what he said he was going to do at the KMAC debate, and he has not done it. He has not corrected his financial disclosure, which is in violation of ethics laws, and it just shows you that, well, if he won't do it with the light of public scrutiny on him, what's he going to do when he's mayor?
So do you not think that he'll divest if he's elected? Do you think that he'll still keep his share in that group?
I hope that he does divest. By the way, he does have to divest if he is the mayor. He has to do it because that would. But right now, he has said he would do something, and he has not done it. I think that's a valid criticism of Mr. Dan Pope. And by the way, he's a member of the Central Downtown Business TIF. And he has been voting for years on more tax dollars for downtown, more and more and more tax dollars. As a matter of fact, the last time I attended a meeting with Mr. Dan Pope, they were talking about $200 million. But I have a sheet here in my hands that shows $381 million. So, Chad, I want to believe him, but his actions have not yet convinced me that I shouldn't be bringing this up again.
Let me ask you a question about downtown, and this deals with a public-private, partnership that has been floated. A story came out, it was last year, this hotel that would be built, and the total price tag of it, I want to say it's north of $90 million, about $91 million. Privately, it would be funded most of it, but the city would kick in, the taxpayers would kick in $22 million for the project. They point to the Overton hotel and say, look, private-public partnership, it's worked well. It would work well in this case. And there, I think, are a few council members who are on record of saying, so far, from what they've seen, they like the idea. If you're mayor, you look at what happened with the Overton hotel, you look at this new hotel, they want to kick in $22 million. Is that a good price tag or not?
Chad, their consultant has printed a document that says this hotel cannot be built without tax dollars. We must have tax dollars in order to proceed with this hotel. Chad, it is not the business of government, especially city government, to build hotels. That's not the business of city government. If we didn't have $1.6 billion, it wouldn't be as bad as it is, because where are they going to get the $22 million? They're going to borrow it and then pay it off over 20 years? And it's just the answer is it's not the business of government to fund the building of hotels anywhere, period.
Visiting with Ysidro Gutierrez, running for mayor here in Lubbock. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation. All right, Chad Hasty Show, News Talk 790 KFYO. Streaming online at KFYO.com. Ysidro Gutierrez in studio, candidate for mayor here in Lubbock, Texas. Ysidro, I want to ask you about the issue of LPNL, and everyone's going to, of course, everyone's been discussing the move or the possible move to ERCOT. I believe you said that you were for that move. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Okay. I believe that is the best and most prudent course for the 2019 deadline. I do believe that.
With LPNL, we're going back a little bit. One of your opponents in the race was on the city council, and everyone touts leadership, right? Running for mayor, everyone's talking about their leadership. One of your opponents was on the city council when LPNL purchased Xcel Energy. Do you think that if you were to have been on the council at that time, and I know we're kind of taking a look back.
No, that's right. That's a good question.
Was that appropriate? Was it the right move for LPNL to purchase Xcel Energy?
Chad, I believe firmly that it was the wrong priority for Lubbock. We should not have paid that kind of money for telephone lines that we do not even use. All we did was buy those 2 rows of telephone lines that go down the alley? Now we own both of them, and we did not need them. So here we go, spending $80 million. And then, by the way, charging the electric company customers, the people of Lubbock, for that, to pay for that over a long period of time. It was not needed, Chad. One of my priorities, I'm going to take a very hard line on reducing the debt, because right now we owe $1.6 billion, and we pay $150 million a year on principal and interest. But you know what? People are confused about that. The best way to put it is this way. We're paying $11.7 million every month on principal and interest. What could we do with $11.7 million? Well, that purchase of those telephone lines that we didn't need is part of that debt now, and we're going to pay for it over a long period of time. It was just wrong. We did not need it.
What is the future of LPNL? Does the city need to be in the business of providing electric? You know, we have one listener who has asked the question before: should City of Lubbock sell LPNL and get out of the business altogether?
Well, by law, we are in the business, and we cannot get out of the business by law unless the voters say that we can. So we are in the business. And if we want to put it on a ballot and ask the voters, do you want to continue in this business? And by law, they would have the final word. I think that in rewriting the city charter, which is one of my problem-solving initiatives or strategies, we could ask the committee who is writing if they have any changes to the LPNL board. For example, I would like to reduce the boards from 9 members to 3 members. Why do we need 9-member board of trustees or managers at LPNL appointed when we're now a member of ERCOT? We don't need 9 anymore. Let's reduce it to 5 or 3.
And that why would that be a benefit in your mind?
Because now we're getting reliable energy from a cooperative that is going to keep our rates low. Why do we need a managing board of 9 people when we're getting our power from ERCOT? I think we can reduce the number from 9 to 3 or even 5.
Visiting with Ysidro Gutierrez, question that came in from the phones. Drive by, wanted you to address why it's interesting in this race, because you have 2 former Democrats who are now Republicans. You're one of them. And they wanted to know why you are a conservative now versus a Democrat in the past. How and why did you make the change?
Well, you know, Chad, I am very happy to answer that one. I am in very good company. You know, Ronald Reagan. You know, Rick Perry, Thomas Sowell, Milton Friedman, David Horowitz, Andrew Breitbart. All of them are in my company. We all did the same thing. And I think that we all did it for the right reason. We all went from the Democrat Party into a conservative mindset. But, Chad, I have always been conservative. Look at my voting record on the Commissioner's Court, and you will see that I always voted conservative. I've never had any liberal leanings at all. And so I was a Democrat as a member of the Commissioner's Court, but I've always been conservative. And I'm in very good company. Ronald Reagan was the president of the labor union. And by the way, and he made this statement, he says, I was a Democrat most of my life. That's what he said. So I'm in very good company. So I appreciate that question. Thank you very much.
Visiting with Ysidro Gutierrez. Ysidro, obviously downtown has been a focus by, I think, every single candidate running for Lubbock City Council, not just mayor, but every single position out there. Are there other areas of town that, with annexation, with the focus on downtown, obviously 34th Street being cleaned up, and it's looking pretty good out there. Do you think there's an area of town that the city of Lubbock is either forgotten about or is in danger of forgetting about and in danger of, I guess, letting it slide to a point that is not very good?
Chad, if you look at my brochure, you'll see where my platform is that I will do what is good for the whole community. This is going to be my agenda. I believe that out of the 50-some-odd miles that are unpaved in Lubbock, 90% of those 50 miles are in East Lubbock. I think that we should have an infrastructure fund to begin to correct that problem, but on a priority basis. I don't want to pave roads that do not need paving. However, I do want to provide infrastructure for the whole community where it is needed. So if for example, right now they're doing Erskine Road over in East Lubbock from MLK out to the Loop. I look down that road, Chad, and there are maybe 2 houses that are on the street, and then all the way to the Loop, there's nothing but empty fields. So what I would do as mayor is I would ask the planners, why is this a priority? East Lubbock needs infrastructure. I want a permanent fund for infrastructure in addition to what we have right now for East Lubbock, because it's wrong to tax the people who live in that area and then not provide.
You want a separate fund for?
I want a dedicated fund for infrastructure that will benefit the whole community in East Lubbock, but it's going to have a sunset clause as well. And I don't want to pave roads that don't need paving. If they're unpaved for a good reason, leave them unpaved. But it's wrong to take tax dollars from the citizens and then not provide them infrastructure where it is needed. And I would do it on a priority basis. As a matter of fact, I think one of the priorities that we have for the whole community is to pave 66th Street from MLK out to the animal shelter. You know that Todd Klein built an animal shelter out there. Nobody can get to it. You can't get to it. If you go past the entrance, which is very small and barely visible, you got to go 2.5 miles to go around and come back. This is incredible, but that's exactly what happened.
Ysidro, tell folks where they can find out and get more information about you online.
Facebook is Ysidro Sid Gutierrez for mayor, and you can Google it. Just put Ysidro Sid Gutierrez for mayor, and you'll go to my Facebook page.
All right, Ysidro, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chad.